Hi Aries, here's a general look at your solar chart for April 2014, and may I wish you a happy birthday if you haven't had it already. And we are in for some very strong influences this April. You may have heard about this already, but you always did like to stir things up a bit, didn't you? To start with, you may have heard about this. It's this configuration we're getting in our skies over April known as the Cardinal Grand Cross, which means that there are four planets lining up with each other at 4 points of a cross, which makes a great big square shape in the skies. And on one of the points of that, we've got Mercury coming in to line up with Uranus for a bit. And also we're going to have the Sun lining up with Jupiter, Uranus and Pluto for just a few days at the beginning of the month. And that could be a changeable time, and then we're going to have a lunar eclipse tucked away somewhere, and then at the end of the month on the 29th there's going to be a solar eclipse in Taurus. Now you are one of the cardinal signs, and so you are likely to feel the influences from this Cardinal Grand Cross, which is just really some more of the Uranus-Pluto aspect that's been running now for several years. You earlier Arians will have been riding that one out and learning a heck of a lot from it, and values and beliefs may be changing. The Grand Cross energies are going to be colliding most strongly from mid-month. They're lining up from the back end of March, and they will still be in orb, as we say in the trade, at the beginning, in the first part of May. And two of the players here are what's behind the general loosening and unraveling of corroded systems in our societies across the world, and generally just kind of rocking the boat with the structuring in our societies and also in the programs that we're running in our own lives. Now, one thing to say about this, which is one of many, but what I want to say is about your ruling planet Pluto. On one of the points of this Grand Cross, it's going to be retrograde in April. So I would advise that if you do have to throw the gauntlet down to anybody or initiate some kind of proceeding or enterprise or project or negotiation, and it's very important that if you possibly can hold off from that, making the very first move until May the 20th, when things are likely to run a lot more smoothly from May the 20th. And if it's already an ongoing thing, you know, that's different, but this is like the first move. Try to avoid that. Now, there is another thing I want to say about this Grand Cross, which I think is really significant, and that's in the shape of Venus. Now, Venus is going to be making a very positive aspect with three of the players on this Grand Cross, so that means that she's kind of tipping the balance in her favor, really. And it is an amazing invitation for us to step into an awareness of what we share, and not so much what we don't share and what the differences are, and what the rights are, the wrongs are of a situation, you know. Venus is moving into Pisces, and that's where she is at her most sensitive and compassionate, when she's at the top of her game. When she's kind of feeling a bit grumpy in Pisces, that's when she's probably being a bit of a martyr and feeling sorry for herself. But when she's playing at the top of her game, which she's likely to do, because Venus is making good aspects to three of those planets, what I would say were good, that's when she can find that deeper connection and empathy, and so therefore she will open the door to us. And I will try and explain in a moment where Venus is going to be for you during that kind of pivotal phase there. So it's going to be, you know, even under pressure, and I do see this pattern in the skies as a sort of pressure cooker. Venus will provide the safety valve, and she's in the sign of unity consciousness, which is basically the way we've got to go. Otherwise, all is lost as the human race, I mean. So on March the 30th, there was a new moon in your sign, and that will be unfolding over April. In general, that could get you busting out of something that's been holding you back regarding your material financial setup. And until the 20th, it's a powerful time for you with the sun in your sign. It always is when the sun comes back to the same place it was when somebody's born. So in general, it's going to be clearer for you to get on with the sorts of things that are close to your heart, and be a bit more self-centered, not in an ego way, not considering where Venus is going to be, but doing whatever is most supportive of yourself and others. And, you know, give more time to things that are empowering for you. As the month begins, Mercury is working from quite deep levels. You having been introspective maybe over some of March, something's up in the air, something's not quite clear, 6s and 7s, you know, but also you can be building fantastic castles in the air, and you can also have been in a very nurturing or spiritual or artistic environment with others, a private kind of bubble, really, and intuition's working very well. But listen to your inner guidance, hold the vision of how you want things to be in the future. And then Mercury moves from the 8th into the same area as the Sun, putting you very much in the stream of information exchange. It's a very sort of increasing social gatherings, mixing, mingling, or increasing correspondence, paperwork, travel. Vehicles could be on your mind, communication equipment could be on your mind, information technology and that kind of thing. And it's a time for you to develop the way that you communicate in whatever way, and it's time for you to be more self-expressive as well. And then from the 20th, that's when the Sun moves and goes into an area to do with finances, goods, properties, making the most of assets, thinking about basic stuff, you know, and really protecting it, ditching it, moving it, or getting your hands on more. And also well-being, health and well-being, maybe looking at diet, maybe looking at, you know, the quality of the water and things like that. Now, until and then Mercury moves also into that area from the 23rd, underpinning all of that around the position of the Sun. So maybe you're having conversations with others about how to improve the financial situation, how to feed the piggy bank so it's got more of a sort of a fat tummy and a smile on its face, and just seeing how to improve things on those sorts of levels there. Until the 6th, Venus is warming up friendships, new ones, old ones, and you just tend to feel supportive, but also supported as you move forwards through these friendships. And pooling forces and resources may be interesting and even materially beneficial, and will generally facilitate positive experiences, and others could be very much valuing you, and you could be there to help them with their objectives, or indeed they could be helping you with yours. And then from the 6th, Venus does move into Pisces, and that is a very background area of your solar chart. It's a karmic area. It's to do with tying up loose ends. It's to do with maybe keeping your feelings to yourself about something, but it's also to do with immersing yourself in whatever feeds your soul. So you'll tend to be a bit more inward with your feelings and a bit more sensing and sounding out things here, but also really key to this as an to offset the pressure cooker configuration in the sky is to be there for others. Not forgetting to be there for yourself, because if you're running on empty, then what good can you be to others, you know? So is to be there for others, and those others sometimes won't have the remotest idea how much you are doing for them. And this is a house where the ego is nowhere to be seen, and that's where Venus is going to be kind of the get out of jail card, free. The get out of jail free card, little aspect onto that cardinal cross in April. Now, until July, your ruling planet, Mars, is transiting your opposite sign, so it's very much about how you are getting on with somebody else. It's very significant for you, Arians, and personal or professional exchanges can be quite dynamic at times, lively, shall we say, or is that an understatement? And you could be crossing swords, you know, with an opposite number or with a partner, or, you know, just eliciting very strong opinions and maybe really quite delighting in that at times, because you like a good dust up every now and again, I think, Aries. But once again, patience may be needed because Mars has got a very short fuse, and in fact, on that subject, it is Mars's presence in this Grand Cross that's really going to kick it off, I think, because Mars will be the fire starter there. Mars will, you know, strike that match and light the fuse. But in this position of Mars, you know, he's got to be handled, because you do have to try to keep lines of communications open, and also, you know, brushing up your people skills in close combat there sometimes, and hoping that you can compromise, you know, especially given the position of Venus at the moment, or rather from the 6th. Cooperative interactions are favored. You know, if both horses are pulling in the carriage in the same direction, that is what you should be aiming for. And you might have to, as I say, use those people skills and be diplomatic a little bit more than it comes naturally to you. And sometimes you just have to slow down and try and understand where somebody else is coming from, you know, walking in their moccasins, as it were. And but equally, if that Mars energy is coming at you through somebody else, don't let yourself get tired out, stressed out because of their demands, or you know they're trying too hard on their behalf. Saturn is in a long transit of Scorpio, and therefore you are actually shifting gears on a very deep emotional level. You know, things that eluded you previously in one-to-one relationship, maybe now the penny's beginning to drop, and this is a time when you should be clearing the decks of the old stuff, the old baggage, making space for the new green shoots, and literally, externally, literally, you know, scrapping things, a contract, an agreement, going down the dump with whatever's not, you know, you haven't used for ages, or giving it away so that it can be of some good to somebody. And definitely ditching, well, modifying maybe, or ditching altogether a previous arrangement or agreement, and whether that's a written one or not. And you may be a bit aware of a previous relationship, or a joint interest, or a joint connection, or a financial setup isn't there anymore, you know, and you'll be slowly transitioning from one stretch of road to the next where that's concerned, because if it isn't there anymore, that's Saturn's very sneaky, devious way of making us really reach for something and work hard on it. Is character building, you see. Now, until next July, Jupiter is in highlighting expansion related to your place in the map. So maybe some of you are traveling more, maybe some of you are getting more access to a venue or an environment you prefer. Also, this transit will tend to help you settle emotionally and can create a sense of belonging wherever you are. More inward balance, but and outwardly family, extended family, tribal relationships should improve, but I say should improve. You're learning a lot through them, the dynamics, you know, the hierarchy, the pecking order, whatever. But also some of you might be wanting to make additions to your base of operations, you know, because Jupiter is about space, you know, having more space. So there can be that kind of thing going on, or maybe, you know, kind of a yurt or a tent in the garden. or a potting shed, something like that. Or indeed, more people can be coming into your space, or you can be going more into others. And some of you could be relocating altogether. I must mention Uranus. Uranus has been in your sign for a while. There's a little while to go, a few years. And this is the time, especially when Uranus comes right up close to where your sun is, your natal sun is. It's about change. It's about really letting go of the outworn, tired, old ways of thinking about yourself. The old frame, so reframing things, reframing your image, maybe, really reaching for that which is fresh and new in your life. Because if you meet that Uranian criteria as much as you can, you're switched on, you're onto it. And you're not burying your head in the sand. Because if you do that and you want things to just stay the same way as they always have, you're going to be hit broadside by that Uranian wave, which I call the Dorothy planet, the tornado, the whirlwind that lifted Dorothy and Toto, her little dog, up and set them down into a place which was definitely not Kansas. So this is a bit like what's been going on if you've been through the Uranian bit already, you earlier Arians, or indeed is happening now. And what an amazing adventure she did have. You have to remain flexible with so much Uranian force. It's kind of a lightning energy around in your life. It's like a lightning storm sometimes. So the more you can kind of meet the criteria already and get out ahead, that would be smart. And that's it for April. If you know your rising sign and your moon sign, listen to the forecasts for those. And also, if you want to know which dates of birth maybe Uranus is affecting and Saturn, then that's the written version. This is on my website, and also I did a separate video on the cardinal ground cross as well. So that's it for now. I'll see you the next time.